Hey there, welcome to Off Duty. I'm Wendy Bounds. Today on Fat Tuesday, we have a lot of film and a lot of food. First up, to whet your appetite, the latest installment of Kenny Greenwald's Slow Food Fast. Get your arteries ready. There is a lot of steak.
Hi, my name is Kitty Greenwald and this is Slow Food Fast. Today we're going to be making skirt steak with Jerusalem artichoke smash and some sauteed spinach. This recipe is from April Bloomfield, who's based out of New York City. So here are 4 pieces of skirt steak, about 6 ounces each. Or what I like to do is season the steaks with salt, both sides. This is kosher salt. In this recipe, we call for 2 different kinds of salt, kosher and Malden. Malden is good for finishing and it's a more delicate salt. Then you're gonna set this aside. So what you have here are Jerusalem artichokes, otherwise known as sunchokes. You can trim off the knobby bit. These are 2 pounds. So you just use sort of a sturdy vegetable peeler. I don't worry about getting all the skin off of the small crevice. You just have them sitting in cold water like you would a potato so they don't oxidize. Again, these don't have to be all the exact same size. We're gonna add the sunchokes to the pot, season the mixer with 2 teaspoons Malden salt, 2 teaspoons of olive oil, and then a 1/4 cup of water. You want to set it over medium-high heat. Give it a stir. You sort of want the salt everywhere. Cover it and come back to it in about 7 minutes. Its whole cooking time is about 20 to 25 minutes. While that cooks, you can tackle the steak. You're gonna put a tablespoon of olive oil. What you really need is for the pan to be super, super hot. I'm gonna do 2 at a time. And I'm not overcrowding the pan. That way I don't bring the temperature down. And you cook each steak about 3 minutes per side. Let it cook, let it constantly sizzle. I'm gonna check on my sunchokes again. And you see now some of the water is starting to dry up, so it's good I looked in. That's why you wanna check in on these. I'm gonna add a splash of the boiling water here. It's boiling so it doesn't bring down the temperature. So you're sort of creating a mash as you go. And so this is what, about the 3rd or 4th time I'm peeking in. So I'm gonna give it another smash. You don't want a bite of something solid. I'm gonna add another little splash. Clearly it takes more water than the 1/4 cup that you initially put in. Okay, that's seared. I'm searing that side. It takes less to sear the second side after you flip it than it does the first. It's the contrast that you want. It's crispy. It's just a little firmer to the touch. That's a mash. I'm gonna go after a larger trunk to see if it's fork tender. It's tender. So the steak is done too, and you want the steak to rest some. The sunchokes, turn off the heat. You're gonna introduce 2 tablespoons of cream and then season for salt. And that just sort of made it a little prettier. It's piping hot. So this is 7 ounces spinach. You want this over medium-high heat. Swirl in 2 teaspoons olive oil. I'm gonna add the spinach. I just want it just wilted. Season it with a bit of salt. It's quickly cooking down. It takes less than a minute. A squirt of lemon juice. That's it. Your spinach is done. You basically want to let the steak sit for a bit. They're still hot. Season it with a squirt of lemon juice, a drizzle of olive oil. You want to slice it sort of across the grain. If you slice it, you want to serve it right away because it'll lose its heat. Okay, let's plate it. Some spinach and some steak. That looks handsome. The sunchoke smash is my favorite part of the dish. The steak is probably a little more towards the rare, but it's still medium. Every ingredient tastes of what it is. You should have some.
I don't know if you're like me, but I find that playing a movie in the background tends to speed things along when you are cooking a big meal. Fortunately, it's Oscar season. We've got a lot to catch up on. And our own Rachel Dodes, she is right in here in the News Corp screening room preparing you a cheat sheet. The next 2 movies, they both are a little whimsical and they both feature kids.
Wind-up figure, like a music box.
Hugo is based on a graphic novel, and it's about a boy who lives in the walls of a French train station.
Where are your parents, little man?
Hugo is Martin Scorsese's first time doing a 3D film, and it's also an unusual film for him because it's a film that's sort of marketed for kids. And I think that the studio had some issues figuring out how to market the movie. It hasn't done that well at the box office, although it's been pretty critically acclaimed. I think a lot of people were surprised when Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close was nominated for Best Picture.
All right, I've got amateur entomologist, francophile, amateur archaeologist, computer consultant.
Why amateur everything?
It's a compliment.
Amateur pacifist? Amateur inventor.
Inventor. Good one.
It got tepid reviews and hasn't done that well at the box office, but it was directed by Stephen Daldry, whose last 3 films were nominated for Oscars in various categories, and produced by Scott Rudin, who is known to have, marketed an Oscar contender or 2.
And around the time the film Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close was released, one of its stars, legendary actor Max von Sydow, he stopped here at the Wall Street Journal studios to discuss his first role and how he prepared for this latest one, where he doesn't speak a word.
What was your very first paid job ever? Not in acting, just first thing you got money to do.
I'm afraid it was.
Was
a
it
job of
acting?
Yes, I think
Tell
so.
me about it.
Well, I started out. I didn't try or didn't dream of becoming a movie actor when I was a boy. I wanted to go to the theatre. I was very impressed by the first theatre I was introduced to. It was in a neighbouring town in the south of Sweden. They had a magnificent municipal theatre. And the very first production there was the Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare, and it made an enormous impression on me. And then my friends and I, we were sent by the school to see the important shows there. And some friends of mine and I decided we have to do theatre. We also, so we started a group of an amateur group in school.
How old were you?
Sorry, how
How
old was
old?
I? 16, I think, 15, 16, and then when school was over, I wanted to go to the theatre. What did you do in those days? You tried to get into an acting school in either the National Theatre in Stockholm or in any of the municipal theatres, which also had acting academies. And I managed to get into the academy in Stockholm, which was wonderful. And my first paid job there, I don't know really. They put the students sometimes in small parts in the main productions there. But I think the very first real part I had was in Wolfgang Goethe's Egmont, a historical tragedy where I played the Prince William of Orange, who was a freedom fighter and fought against the Spaniards. This was in I believe, the 17th century, 16th century or something in Holland.
How come you don't speak? Are your vocal cords damaged or something? Or did something scare you to death? Cool. When was the last time you spoke? Do you ever try to talk? Why don't you try to say something to me? Go on. My name is the Renter. Do you have a criminal record? Maybe you hurt people for a living. Well, what's your story then?
When you're done for the day, with a project, when you're off duty, what do you do to just distance yourself and become Max the person, not Max the actor? How do you just...
Well, when I step out of my costume and take off my makeup, if I have some, I am me. It doesn't take long to get. You have to get out of the part when you finish. When you get off the stage or get off the platform in the film, or whatever. It's me. I never how should I say? I never mix myself up with the parts I play. When the party's over, the party's over, and it's
over.
me. So.
A long and storied career behind him, and also in the Hollywood community. Our own Lee Hawkins sat down with Pross Michel of the Fugees and Academy Award-winning filmmaker Paul Haggis to talk about their efforts to rebuild Haiti after the devastating earthquake of 2010. Let's take a look.
As we approach the 2-year anniversary of the earthquake in Haiti, 80% of that country's population was living below the poverty line, and the situation is worsening. Some reports say that less than half of the $4.6 billion in donations pledged to Haiti has actually been received and dispersed. And both of you are doing outreach efforts around Haiti right now. Pretty gloomy picture, some of the statistics that we see.
Yeah, I mean, half is wildly inflated, and nowhere near that much money got there.
Okay. No, not even half,
Oh,
you're
God,
saying?
no.
Okay. So when you look at that, you have all these efforts that you put together individually, but you're also working collectively. So why don't you tell me about the work you're doing with Sean Penn and other celebrities?
Okay, sure. Pross, you want to start?
Well, I mean, basically, it's been 2 years, obviously, and what I've decided to do is go down Haiti within the last year and a half and kind of like pinpoint, who's doing what. Like you said before, the money that was pledged has not gotten to Haiti. So what I've noticed, I saw Paul Haggis, for example, all the fundraisers he's been doing, basically all the money's been going right to Haiti, to the end user. Built the first free high school in Haiti. I've seen the work that Sean's been doing, his dedication, the camp, trying to relocate the people. Stiller came in.
Ben Stiller.
Yeah, Ben Stiller came in, raised a lot of money to help what Sean and Paul is doing. So I started an initiative called Embrace Haiti Now, which is a bracelet that proceeds is going to go to these 3 particular organizations. Because like I said, the big organizations kind of like, you don't know where the money's going.
Okay.
Here these guys are held accountable. You can see the work, you see what they're doing, and that's the initiative that I want to push.
And I want to talk to you about your high school because most Americans, including myself, probably were not aware of the fact that there were no free high schools in Haiti before you started one, and now you're saying there are 3,000 students.
There will be. There will be. The school we originally planned it for 12, and we found out we were sponsoring the Artists for Peace and Justice, which I helped found. We're sponsoring schools in the slums there before the quake, elementary schools, and just small ones, very poor ones, but best education we could get. If you're a kid who grows up in the slums and you're lucky enough to be able to go to one of these schools or one you can afford to pay for, that'll be about 50% of the kids. You can only go to grade 6. That's it. And then you're on the street. Or if you can't afford the American school, you can't afford the public schools, you can't afford anything. So we thought that a crime.
And if you want to watch the rest of Lee's interview, you can click above to see the entire video. And since it is Fat Tuesday, here are a few great drink recipes to help you celebrate, whether it's tonight, tomorrow, or even the next day.
Welcome to WSJ After Hours. There's drinking holidays, and then there's Mardi Gras. In honor of Bourbon Street, New Orleans, check out the Gold Rush. Wake up with a hangover the next morning. There's nothing like a Bloody Mary. Check out the St. Regis's Bloody Mary, which is the most famous one of them all. like these drinks or you have any suggestions, get in touch. Send me a tweet. This is Elva Ramirez for WSJ After Hours.
That is it for Off Duty today. I hope you'll leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Wendy Bounds. Please join me on Facebook and Twitter. I'll see you tomorrow.